Building relationships that last can be challenging, but it doesn't have to be. The Stoics understood this, and they had some wise ideas on how to build strong relationships with others. In this episode of the Stoic Philosophy Podcast, we're going to cover 3 Stoic principles that will help you build strong relationships with others. Let's get into it. Principle No. 1. Practice negative visualization. Seneca writes in his letter to his friend Lucilius about how he thinks the Greeks were wrong for inventing the word euphemism, which is a term to replace an unpleasant word or concept with a more pleasant one. One example would be to say someone has passed away instead of saying they died. It's so much nicer to say, right? Well, Seneca argues that euphemisms are wrong, because if we don't acknowledge the reality of things, we aren't prepared for them. And then when they actually do happen, they catch us off guard. In the same way, Seneca encourages us not to shy away from thinking about negative things that might happen in our relationships. In fact, he encourages us to think about it ahead of time, so that if it does happen, we won't be caught off guard. Marcus Aurelius echoes this idea. It says, "He who is not prepared for the unexpected first has only himself to blame when it happens." Thinking about negative outcomes in a relationship isn't to bring them about. It's not like you're cursing your friend by thinking these thoughts, so that if these unfortunate events do occur, you're already prepared for them. This is what Epicurus means when he says that we should expect the unexpected. By expecting the unexpected, we're less likely to be upset when these things happen because we've already thought about them. What this looks like practically in a relationship is communicating openly and honestly about where the relationship is heading. Are you both on the same page? What are your goals for the future? Have you talked about things like finances or kids or living situation? By discussing these difficult topics, you're preparing for the unexpected, and you'll be in a better position if something goes wrong. Don't shy away from uncomfortable conversations. Embrace them because they're making your relationship stronger. Which brings us to our next principle: accept that people will let you down. When we enter into a relationship, we're entering into an agreement with another human being. But what if that person breaks the agreement? What if they let you down? As Epictetus says, "He who has overcome his own will, his passions, his appetites, is free." He is a master of himself, not by his own power, but it is the mark of a slave to be led by one's passions. We have to accept that people will let us down. They will break our agreements. It's part of being human. And while it may seem obvious, we often forget this in practice. How many times have you been angry at a friend or a family member for not doing what they said they would do? How many times have you held a grudge against someone for not keeping their word? We all know that people let each other down. We know it intellectually, but do we really believe it in our heart of hearts? Do we really believe that no one will ever let us down again? So, we're bound to be disappointed. Instead, we must accept that people will let us down. When we do, we shouldn't hold on to our anger or frustration. Instead, we should try to understand that they made a mistake. They're human. We should forgive them and move on. This doesn't mean that we tolerate bad behavior. It just means that we shouldn't hold on to anger or frustration when it inevitably happens. Everyone will disappoint you. It's just part of being human. Accept it and move on. The third principle is put the needs of others before your own. This is a big one. The Stoics believed that the key to happiness was to focus on the needs of others rather than our own. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly when he said, "The fruit of this life is good character and acts for the common good." By focusing on the needs of others, we're able to create a positive impact on the world around us. And in doing so, we find true happiness. But why is this? Why does putting the needs of others before our own lead to happiness? Well, it's because when we focus on ourselves, we're constantly seeking pleasure and comfort. And this ultimately leads to dissatisfaction. When we focus on the needs of others, we're able to step outside of ourselves and our own problems. We're reminded that there are people who have it worse than us, and that our problems aren't as big as we think. This helps us put our problems in perspective and appreciate what we have. It also helps us to be grateful for what we have, which is a key ingredient to happiness. How do we put the needs of others before our own in our relationships? Well, it starts with simple acts of kindness. A little bit of love and affection goes a long way. Tell your partner how much you appreciate them. Tell your friends how much you value their friendship. Ask your family members how they are, and really listen to their answer. By practicing small acts of kindness, we're able to show our loved ones that we care about them. And in doing so, we strengthen our relationships and create a positive impact on the world around us. It's easy to get caught up in ourselves and our own problems, but when we focus on the needs of others, we're able to find true happiness. So the next time you're feeling down, reach out to a loved one and ask how they are. Tell them how much you appreciate them. Show them that you care. It'll make them feel loved and appreciated, and it'll make you feel better in the process. Relationships can be challenging, but they don't have to be. The Stoics provide us with a number of principles that can help us build strong relationships. By following these principles, we can create positive relationships that will enrich our lives. So remember, practice negative visualization. Be prepared for the unexpected. Accept that people will let you down. Put the needs of others before your own. By following these principles, we can create meaningful relationships that will last a lifetime. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Stoic Philosophy Podcast. If you did, please make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you want to learn more about Stoic philosophy, check out my book, A Guide to the Good Life. Using ancient wisdom to find modern happiness. You can learn more at thegoodlifestoic.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.